review on your laughter station 32 FM 94.9. It's the 28th of March 2024. It's time to bring you the headlines this beautiful morning. I am DENIKE Adimwago.
And I'm Kenny Dorothy. We take a look at the major headlines once again out of the newspapers this morning. I have the Premium Times, the Daily Trust, the Daily Post, the Nation newspaper, amongst a bunch of papers that we'll be taking a look at this morning.
All right, we start off from the Vanguard newspaper. The front page, the major story says, at burial, grieving families of slain soldiers demand justice. There are several riders to that story and say criminals should not be allowed to leave. I leave my son's killers to God, Major Obi's mother. My son was planning to marry before death came, says mother of Corporal Peter Hammond. I won't stop another son from joining the military. Warrant Officer Zaraki retired. Tinubu urges Okwama elders, chiefs to fish out culprits, one military against reprisal attack on innocent people. More writers to that story give scholarship houses to deceased wards and bestows MON on deceased soldiers. Slain soldiers left behind pregnant widows, 21 orphans, according to COAS. And that's on the major side of the Vanguard this morning. Away from that one, another story says fears over debt sustainability mounts, threaten CBN's bid to tame inflation. Calls for stopping of ex-governors, presidents, pension raise dust. I'll take that again. Calls for stoppage of ex-governors, president's pension raise dust. Abure re-elected LP national chairman as NLC kicks, and Edo Guba, PDP, APC, LP, 13 others beat INEC deadline. Nominate candidates. Igodalo, others nominated. INEC to publish candidate list March 30. VP Shetima expresses confidence as Naira strengthens further. Parallel markets gap widen. And Dangote Lumelu Rabiu, others listed as Tinubu sets up Economic Coordination Council. And finally, State of the Nation, insecurity having negative effect on Nigerians. Afenifere.
All right, headlines out of the Premium Times now. Naira extends gains across forex markets. Okwama killings, slain soldiers left behind the pregnant widows, 21 orphans. That's according to an army chief there. Delta killings, remains of 17 soldiers arrived military cemetery. Abuja, Tinubu expected to attend burial. Of course, that's still one. Tinubu awards national honors to 17 slain military personnel. Announces welfare package for families. Tinubu's advisor takes dig at Buhari over treatment of fallen soldiers. Terrorist kills Zamfara community guard commander. Kidnap 14 road construction workers. Some other stories. APC inaugurates Sanwo-Olu, Uzodinma, others as party's zonal coordinators. At IPI National Revelation, military confesses abducting, detaining missing editor. Twitter user falsely claims dollar sold at 1,000 naira. Ondo governorship, PDP screens 7 aspirants. Nigerian police operatives allegedly extort $13,000 from a victim. Hardship, Akwa Ibom government abandons food subsidy, introduces replacement. IPAC unveils 2024-2028 action plan, seeks public funding for political parties. And lastly, from the Premium Times this morning, Tinubu extends tenure of FCT head of service.
To the Punch newspaper, President's 50-member emergency teams get 6 months to rescue economy. As same NIN subscribers kick against Friday deadline, demand extension. Crisis hits 𝐂𝐑𝐈𝐒. Chairman, director disagree on MD sacking. Slain soldiers burial. Tinubu insists on killers' arrest as families demand justice. Killers won't go unpunished, President vows. Confers posthumous national honor on slain soldiers. Federal government orders benefit payment within 90 days. Families get scholarship. Houses, COAS mourns. And some more stories here says NLC faults Abure's return. LP tips Obi for 2027. To the red corner, Defense Intelligence Agency holding abducted Lagos editor, according to IPI. And lastly, Olubadan designate healthy will appear in public soon. Son.
All right, from the Daily Trust now, some headlines here. Tears of slain military personnel buried in Abuja. There's a maiden one there. LP reserves 2027 presidential ticket for Obi, re-elects Sabure as chair. Sokoto Hospital denies treating killed Dogo Gide. Meningitis, WHO, others launch immunization in Jigawa. Some of the stories from the Daily Trust newspaper now. Dangote Ilumelu, Rabiu, others make Tinubu's economic team. We are ready for 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers, Umeru says, disquieting a cold disco over new MD. Flights disrupted at Port Harcourt Airport as host communities protest. 17 parties to contest Edo governorship election. And lastly, Guavon joins 24 others for FIFA Technical Leadership Diploma Program.
Police neutralized 2 notorious bandits in Benue. That's on the Daily Post newspaper. From the Daily Post newspaper, abducted Kaduna pupils, Nigerians deserve to know details of release, Bukati. Elon Musk now says X will produce premium plus subscription for fee. Oil theft, Nigerian Navy hands over Ghanaian, 15 other suspects for investigation. Notorious terrorist leader, fighters killed in Zamfara. So more stories out of the Daily Post. Ramadan, Governor Buni pardons 32 inmates in Yobe. Akwa Ibom pensioners urge Governor Eno to establish pension board. And this one also says, Rivers, nothing can cut short my tenure. Governor Fubara. Naira closes at 1,300 by USD Wednesday. Kwara NSCDC deploys 3,300 officers for Easter celebrations. Order Nigerian army to release abducted editor. IPI urges President Tinubu. America should regard Africa as necessary partner. Tinubu to U.S. congressional delegation. And finally, Abia littered with abandoned NDDC projects. OT tells minister. We go on our first commercial break of the morning. When we return, we'll come back with the analysis. Stay with us.
Feel better about your life.
32 FM, 94.9, the antidote to depression.
Get in on the action with Betano, your exciting destination for sports betting. Enjoy an award-winning experience with amazing betting options, cash outs and missions, as well as other features. Join now and get a welcome bonus of up to 200,000 naira. Betano.ng, the game starts now.
It's Ramadan. Come on board. Let's go on a tour to the top restaurants where you can enjoy the best of the season. First stop is Charity Cafe. Here, the currency is sharing, so keep giving. Next stop is Kindness Bistro. Be the kindest you can be. Last but not the least, make a stop by at Forgiveness Drive-Thru and let go of every beef. And at Sahur and Iftar, bring it home with the goodness of great tasting meals with Noor. This Ramadan, don't just eat for good. Share the good and be the good. Noor, eat for good.
Guy, if I tell you all this plenty airtime and data, where they take flex? Now dash glow dash me, you go believe.
Dash get for this kind of economy. I beg it.
Dey there now. As I buy my glow sim like this, spirit, I first collect 1,000 naira welcome bonus. Sarah. As I come recharge, bam, glow knock me 10 times airtime bonus. I also enjoy double data. Join.
Wait, oh, you mean 1,000 naira welcome bonus?
Yes.
Plus 10 times airtime bonus?
Yes.
Plus double data again?
Yes,
Papa,
now.
for which universe now?
The glow break the universe now. You want try?
Oh, mo, no wonder boys they flex anyhow on top phone 247 non-stop. I talk am.
My people, not let grass grow under your Lego. Go get your Glow SIM today. Dial *777# to buy and enjoy 10 times airtime bonus plus up to double data. Offer day for both new and existing subscribers. Them.
Glow Unlimited.
ẹ̀yin fans mi.
It's okay.
ẹ lọ sórí gbogbo ìkànnì ìbánidọ́rẹ̀ẹ́ ní 32FM 949 fẹ̀yìn ẹ̀
Asafu. It's okay.
ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ Ramadan dé oṣù ìkẹlẹ́jà Ramadan dé oṣù àlùbáríkà ní 32FM 94.9 àjàkẹ́rin kókó ọ̀sán wà nìbàdàn ọ̀nà ń kí wa pé a kú àmójúbà o múmínà á máa kú ọdún ó mà tún ti yá ká wá ṣiṣẹ́ ládàá ká so nígbọ̀wọ́ ètò iye tágbára bá ká ìṣẹ́jú márùn-ún mẹ́wàá tàbí ìṣẹ́jú mẹ́ẹ̀ẹ́dógún ọgbọ̀n ìṣẹ́jú wákàtí kan lówó kékeré ọyá kàgbéra ká lọ rálágà Ramadan hello Mr. Ayédùn 07083196095 àwọn gan ló máa gbé tàbí kẹ́gbẹ́ Yusufu lórí nọ́mbà yìí 08146113680 àwọn ló máa gbé Ramadan yìí máa dùn wá sọ̀pọ̀ ọdún.
Feel better about your life.
32 FM 94.9, the antidote to depression.
All right, it's great to have you back with us. 32 FM 94.9, 17 minutes to 7 o'clock. The papers review. We're delving into the analysis of the headlines right now. And to do that with us this morning is Professor 𝐂𝐒𝐏𝐿. Good morning, sir.
Well, top of the day to you. It's a pleasure to be here.
All right, so let's start off with this one. The president has established a 31-man presidential Economic Coordination Council. I'd like you to speak towards, the composition of that council, the expertise that these people bring to the table, and what their impact will be, on the economy.
Well, if you look at the top table, the top end of it, it's all institutional. President, vice president, the minister, Edu, of course, the governor of Central Bank, of course, and there's some other people from that point of view. My main concern is not even them, because they are not going to be the ones doing the heavy lifting. The heavy lifting is continually being done by the Central Bank and the Ministry of Finance. And my immediate concern, which I think the council needs to begin to look at, is the raising of the interest rate to, is it 24 or 34?
Right.
I think I stand to be corrected. But it's been raised to such a high level that questions have been raised, you understand, as to the major risk that is being posed to the financial intermediation role of the banks. And what do I mean by that? In a normal economy where credit is available to all, when you raise the interest rates, you understand, what does it do? What it does is that it constricts, it contracts the money supply, you understand, and encourages saving, so people will save. But where you have a situation, you understand, first and foremost, inflation is out of kilter. Secondly, you understand, not a lot of people have credit. So what you're doing is you're stopping major businesses, small businesses from growing because they can't borrow those at that rate, from that point of view. So it's not really helping the economy. Inflation is still stubborn, you understand. And so in a situation where you're having 34% in terms of, where inflation of 31%, you understand, and what you call interest rate is 24, you have to find ways, other ways than what they do traditionally in other economies. And my own view about it is that, this council should intervene so that loans are more readily available to small businesses so that they can expand. The other thing is that make money available. Many people are suffering. If you go to the ATMs, you're hardly going to be able to get money. And if you don't get money, you understand, you can't leave. And if you're not able to leave like that, you're unable to spend money on all these small businesses. And so it's a cul-de-sac that's what's sort of running. So hopefully this so-called council will look at such things and make life a bit better so that people can spend and people can live a little bit better. And of course, you'll be asking the question, once the rate of the Naira strengthens, this council should intervene to ensure that prices of commodities also come down.
Right.
All right. President Bola Tinubu yesterday made good his pledge to honor the 17 military personnel killed in Okwama community of Delta State. He described the fallen officers as brave, noble, and patriotic men. And also, he's given scholarships, houses to children, families of the 17 soldiers killed in Delta. and also has ordered the Nigerian army to pay the slain soldiers' benefits to their respective families within 90 days. Is the 90-day mark too much, or do you think that it should come faster, say month, seeing how things can get lost in the process and transition, and then the families might be there complaining in 2 years, we haven't seen anything, and of course we're hoping for the best, but just touch on that.
No, we've had people who have been promised all sorts by the federal government in the past, and years down the line, they still haven't received it. But it's a mark of the commitment that the president, the commander-in-chief, has to the armed forces, that is giving them that 90 days, which means within 3 months. And I'm sure that if he could have said immediately, he would have said that. But I think he's followed the advice of his aides, and within 3 months, we'll see what happens. But I think also giving them award, post-emails, it doesn't do anything for the dead people, but it does something for the living. In other words, their families are reassured that the federal government hasn't forgotten them. The scholarships is more what I'm more interested in, because it's quite expensive now to educate the children. So the scholarships up until university must be something that is something that is commended. But beyond that, the question is: are we going to have many more, or fewer more, or none at all? And the federal government must put in place, policies to ensure that our soldiers are well protected and they don't go in blind on a peace mission and yet end up being slaughtered as they were, from that point of view. So kudos to Mr. President, but at the same time, we must get the balance right in terms of the protection of our military. Having said that, once you join the military, everybody knows that it's a risk. The risk is that, of course, you lose your life in defense of your country.
All right, just seeing this headline here from the Punch. Ningi demands reinstatement, threatens to drag Akpabio before NBA. Seeing that headline, Prof, what's your take on that?
My take on it is that I'm very, very surprised. I thought he would have gone to court from day one. I don't know why he delayed it. Because as far as I'm concerned, there are grounds in the court, grounds in law to challenge the suspension. You have to ask the question, was he given fair hearing? You have to ask the question, was what he said fair comment? Is it truthful? And at the end of the day, you have to also ask, going by the 𝐒𝐲𝐷𝐃 case, the then Senator 𝐒𝐲𝐷𝐃, who was suspended for 90 days, went to court, and the court said, no, they don't have the power to do it for 90 days. I think it was reduced to 14 days. So I think there are a number of grounds in which you can approach, from that point of view. So, but I'm surprised that it's only just now that he's thinking of that. And reference to NBA, I don't know really why reference to NBA. I think he should just go to court, get relief from court, and get the establishment of his rights, or the securing his rights.
All right, I'll take a look at this one about the Labour Party. And according to this, the National Convention, they announced that they have reserved 2027 tickets for the party's leader, Mr. Peter Obi. Also, the party announced the right of first refusal for the Abia State Governor, Alex Otti, should he decide to seek re-election on the party's platform. As well as a major headline from the Punch that says NLC faults Abure's return. LP tapes will be for 2027. What's your take on this? Should we not get to the bridge before we cross it?
I think it's totally, in my view, undemocratic. I think they should allow those that want to contest when the time comes. Now is not even the time. Now we should focus on nation building. We should focus on helping this government with its policies. They will get some of the policies wrong, but of course criticism might help them get it right. So I think it's premature. I think it's rather unfortunate that they've made those decisions now. I think they're just in a hurry. So they should wait till the appropriate time. Allow those who want to contest, and if Peter Obi, or indeed the man in Oti, the man in Imo State, you understand, is able to secure the support of the members of the party, then yes, they open themselves to court challenge at this rate, because in a democracy, you allow everybody to put his heart into the ring, and you don't foreclose that. What they've done is they foreclose the options of other people.
All right, let's take a look at this one. The debt dispute between the IBEDC, as the Ibadan Electricity Distribution Company, and the University College Hospital, over a $400 million debt owed by the hospital. Now, we understand that the IBEDC disconnected electricity supply to the hospital due to the unpaid debt, leading to an exchange of words between the two entities. Of particular concern is the impact that will have on patient care and operations within the usage. Reports also have it that the disconnection has affected some of the incubators where children are kept and the intensive care unit as a whole. What would be your reaction to that?
First and foremost, I'm not surprised that this has happened. In fact, in the past, it's happened. So, in fact, the surprise to me, is that this is being re-aired over the news again. In fact, I know professors and doctors there. Some of them have what is it called? What's this thing called? The solar thing, the inverter thing.
Okay.
Yeah, some of them use inverter. Some of the units have generators and don't rely on the power that comes from the IBCD. But if they've used this energy, then they should pay it. But I think the IBCD also have what is called CSR, Social Corporate Responsibility. And so when it comes to emergency situations, they should find a way to ensure that the emergencies are well catered for and the power is supplied. And I think the UCH should then look at the patient care. Is it that the money they get from the government is not enough? And I think that is clear. The subventions are not enough. Should they now pass it on to the very rich, patients, that come there? Because the money has to be paid somehow. IBCD is not a charity, at the end of the day. So whilst I'm not putting blame entirely on UCH, IBCD, but what I'm saying is that we must find a way forward, a sustainable way for UCH to pay that money back over a period of time, and at the same time still have access to power. So I think IBCD need to soft-pedal a bit. You understand? They're entitled to the debt. You understand? But at the same time, they should also think about the general populace and the impact that it may have. There will be IBCD staff. You understand? There will be relatives, that go to UCH and may be at risk as a result of this action.
Do you think there's some systemic issues there when it comes to owing? We have all these agencies owing government and all that.
There certainly is. Let me just tell you, and I will say it. In Nigeria, you understand, when people use power, I think a lot of people use power very carelessly. In other words, they leave the lights on, they leave the fans on, they leave everything on, and they don't put it off. Of course, that adds to the bill, especially if it's metered. It's not like the estimated bill. So, of course, that's a problem. And I think some education needs to come even from IBCD. When you're not using the room, turn it off. Or maybe the UCH needs to begin to look at their power system. Do they use low power bulbs? Do they have electricity that switches off when you're not using that? For instance, in my university, the security men control, you understand, the light to some of the lecture theaters, which means when there's no student there, they can go and put up the fans and light. It's just a switch, a sort of a remote control. And that in that way, you then control the usage, when people are not there, especially overnight. Because our generation, or rather your generation, they tend to just leave the fans running and the lights. So maybe that needs to happen more in usage. Maybe. I'm not saying that's the problem, but maybe that's the thing they need to consider. Usage of power from that point of view.
All right, a headline from the Vanguard says residents decry lack of cash at ATM points, cash withdrawal limits by banks. Some residents of Ibadan on Wednesday expressed worries over continued lack of cash at some automated teller machine points and the limit set on cash withdrawal in the banking halls. A POS operator says that they patronize filling stations to get cash from them, and the boys are making huge money. This person says they collect 1,500 on every 100,000 naira that they collect from them. Now, I spoke to a banker sometime last week who mentioned the CBN part in this. And he mentioned how cash isn't exactly flowing and returning back to the street due to the fact that they want to implement a full cashless society, in which I will ask you, do you think that we're ready for a full cashless society? But then when we look at it from the angle of the POS operators and the speculations that they might be responsible for the cash scarcity, do you think that there should be some sort of communication? Because a lot of people believe that the POS operators are the ones who go to the ATM, take the money, and that's why there's no cash. So do you think that in all of this, there should be some sort of communication as to know the major cause of the situation? And if truly we're transitioning to a cashless society at this time?
Yeah. Well, of course there should be communication, but let's just look at the facts. There are 93 trillion. That's what's in the economy. The CBN is trying to mop up the 93 trillion. Why? The reason they're trying to do it is they want to get on top of inflation. Inflation is too much, 31 point whatever percent. Somebody was just telling me, you understand, about perfumes, you understand. Normally it retails at 2,000, you understand? Right. And now it retails at 2,005, you understand? That's a jump, astronomical jump. And the reason why is because inflation is just too much. So CBN wants to get on top of this, from that point of view. But in trying to get on top of it, people like you and I, the masses, those on the margins, are suffering. because it's still it's not a cashless economy totally. And of course, the rural areas are where I really fear for most. Many of them may not have enough POS. What do you call them? You understand? And even if they have POS, they can't afford to part with the money, the charges. So I think the CBN needs to really, go very softly, especially in the rural areas, and especially the fact that how come POS have money and ATMs don't have money? It tells me that there's something going on. Some people have suggested, I don't have the proof, that many of these POS are owned by, people even in the banking industry. And that's why it is the case. So I think it needs to be looked at. There needs to be communication. And I think until we are ready for cashless economy, and cashless economy thrives on what do you call that in that you do?
Internet banking.
Internet banking. Well, internet banking in some instances is awful. I know someone, you understand, that spent paid some money and they debited the person about 3 times. And I hope the person has got their money back. But it's happened to me too. You understand? And you don't get your money back for months and so on and so forth. It's getting better, but it's not good enough.
Do you think that when you look at the situation with security, that having a total cashless society would also help? For instance, if you cannot withdraw 10 million naira to give a kidnapper, you cannot see that much cash to even hold in the first place, because even the ATMs are not dispensing. At the banks, you can't get more than maybe 20,000 naira at the counter. So how do you get 10 million naira to give anybody? Do you think that this would impact the situation of the security situation significantly?
This cashless policy has been on for some time, and it hasn't impacted it. It should. In theory, it should. It should impact it, but really, see, they are not even reducing the amount of money they're asking for to the tens of thousands. They're now going to billions, and so on and so forth. So I know what the government wants to do. I know what they seek to achieve, but it's still not working, because in most parts, you understand, these kidnappers are oblivious to what's going on. I think cashless society is our goal. We should seek to achieve it. When I'm in the United Kingdom, in fact, I'm not going to say it, I have a device, you understand, you just flash that device and your money is, you pay your money. You don't need to carry cash around. But in this economy, which is still very rural, most people live in the rural areas, it doesn't work. But if we achieve it, then it will be able to deal, as you've suggested, with kidnapping, with criminality and otherwise. But until we have access, the internet is good, works well, and we have access to banks in the local rural areas, I think we're stretching it a bit too far.
All right, we'll take a commercial now. When we come back, we'll be opening the phone lines to take your reactions to the headlines. Stay with us.
Feel better about your life.
32 FM, 94.9, the antidote to depression. Stay tuned to 32 FM 94.9.
Ramadan tó ti dé, ó yá, ẹ jẹ́ ká jọ rìnrìn àjò lọ sáwọn ilé oúnjẹ ìgbàlódé tó yáàyè níbi tẹ́ ẹ ti gbádùn ara yín ní sáà oṣù Ramadan yìí. Àkọ́kọ́ ibẹ̀ ní ilé oúnjẹ Àánú, níbi tí pípé ti ṣe pàtàkì. Nítorí náà, ẹ máa fi fúnni. Èyí tó tẹ̀lé ni ilé oúnjẹ Ọrẹ. Nítorí náà, ẹ máa jẹ́ onínúure tòótọ́. Èyí tó gbẹ̀yìn ni pé kó o dúró lójúnà ìdáríjì, kó o sì jọ̀wọ́ gbogbo ìkùnsínú. Ní àkókò àsùbá àti ṣínú, kó èrè wọlé pẹ̀lú adùn náà. Lóṣù Ramadan yìí, má kàn jẹun lásán nìkan. Pín ìgbádùn yìí kó o sì wà nídàra. Náà, jẹun fún ìdára.
Kò bá jẹ́ 24, 29 tàbí 32 ṣáà ti fẹ̀yìn ẹ̀ pẹ̀lú wa lórí gbogbo ìkànnì ìbánidọ́rẹ̀ẹ́ kàn tẹ 32 FM 949 fẹ̀yìn ẹ̀.
If you've not tried us, here's why you're missing out. First, we're a licensed microfinance bank. Also, get our reliable POS when you open a business account or a debit card that works with a personal account. You can instantly open an account from anywhere for reliability, security, convenience, and speed. You only need one bank. MoneyPoint! Download the app or find an agent near you to get started. MoneyPoint, powering dreams.
Ọ̀kọ̀lọ́kọ̀ Mariaba làwọn sálà, Mariaba làwọn sálà, oṣù ìkéde Ramadana, Mariaba làwọn sálà. Mùmínì pẹ̀lú mùmínà, 32 FM kí wa next 4.9 yìí ni wípé àkó àmójúbà Ramadan oṣù kẹtùndé ọyẹ ẹjẹ aṣọ nígbàwọ iye tá a gbára bá ká ìṣẹ́jú márùn-ún ìṣẹ́jú mẹ́wàá ìṣẹ́jú mẹ́ẹ̀ẹ́dógún ọgbọ̀n ìṣẹ́jú wákàtí kan lọ́wọ́ tí kò gara lọ ní 32 FM 94.9 fún ẹ̀kúnrẹ́rẹ́ àlàyé ẹ lè pa alága Ramadan ẹlò Mr. Ayédùn 07083196095 kọ́lá mọ́bẹ̀ yìí sópin a ó ṣe púpọ̀ ọdún láyé.
32 FM 94.9.
You're listening to 32 FM 94.9.
FM 94.9. It's time to take your reactions to any of the stories. The numbers 0809 7949 and 0906 2949. Hello.
Good morning, there.
Good morning.
Good morning, Professor Leo Jedo. This is the voice of John who's on deck. I'm calling from UI this morning. He says Senator Abimengi appears to be a reggae dancer. I expected him to have gone to court before now. The suspension was hastily done, carried out on that day, as the suspension was just a fake accomplice even before the proceeding commenced. I want to thank the President for honoring the officers and men of the Nigerian Army who are under the line of duty and warning against philosophical attack as too wrong cannot make it right. But defending against the rule of natural justice, the punish the righteous for the offense committed by the sinner. Thank you, I'm John Mizanda.
All right, thank you very much. Okay, General Babatuni on Facebook says the families left behind by the soldiers should be made to enjoy what the president promised them. Let there be no bottleneck constituted by the administrator. Delta or Kwama community produce the miscreants who kill these soldiers. Produce for peace to reign. Hello.
Hello, good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Ade from UI. On Abdulmegi, not going to court earlier than this. You know, you understand a lot of things like many of these. And again, going to court. The way court looked like that time, it has so many things have changed. So you look at the trend before you take decision. You just have to pray for this country. I always say the country has been. On the night that there's no cash, I always tell them, let the supporter of President Tinubu and whoever that are not pretending against this country, let them encourage him to go to. I ask how to govern. Let the government just tell me. Because we want to do kindness for the children, make the poor to suffer. And all those good, a lot of those people that are selling to nations, most of them do not even know the not talk of having back accounts. They should go and they should go to a public job, get how to govern, getting economic expert. I mean, pride cannot take us to anywhere. That's the best of today.
All right, thank you. 0705 5949 0809 7000 Once again, we're live on Facebook, 32FM 949 Ibadan and 32FM 949 Fenya, the backup account there. Prof, I wanted to take your reaction to this one. It has to do with us here in Oyo State. Lubano designate healthy will appear in public soon. That's a statement credited to his son. Now, that clarification comes in the wake of concerns that the Lubano designate was absent at their Monday meeting of the Olubadan Council. Any legitimate reasons for concerns here? 12 days after after being named as Olubadan's designate, he hasn't.
Well, it begs the question that he was absent from that meeting. In fact, there's been some speculation, but nobody's been able to confirm it. And the speculation was that maybe he was unwell and maybe he was on admission. But of course, that's just rumor. The family has come to debunk it. And let's hope that by his appearance, very soon, that has to be debunked. But you know why it's important? Nothing will happen to him, you understand? But it's important because he must ascend the throne. If he doesn't ascend the throne, then his line, which is the Balogun line, you understand, will still be entitled, the next person along the line, rather than in the other side, the civilian line. But it's speculation. The man is alive. The family says he's ill and hearty. We have to believe that. And of course, he has to appear at some point.
This comments from Raja Fiz says, good morning in the studio on the issue of President Tinubu insisting that the community of Delta State that killed the soldiers must be brought to book. Honestly, the entire community must pay the price. Nigerian army should raise down the entire community and convert the entire community land into army barracks and name the army barracks after those soldiers that lost their life in that peace mission. Hello, good morning.
Good morning. My name is Benga Mario, calling from Apata. Good morning, Professor.
Good morning, sir.
Yes, sir. So on the issue of Ningi suspension, I think if suspension was wrongly given, I mean, the verdict was wrongly given. It's supposed not to have been suspended in the first place. I expected that they would have conducted a forensic investigation into the issue. Then the outcome would have let us to know what punishment should be dealt out to him. So I think yesterday, Falana wrote a letter to the Senate President speaking that Ningi should be back that the suspension should be cancelled. So let's cross our fingers, let's keep our fingers crossed and see what will be the outcome. And on the issue of the dollar, I mean the dollar naira rate, some few days ago we have seen that the naira has been rising. So and it kept wondering me why price of goods kept constant, and in some good cases it kept increasing. And Nigeria is a country in which when something goes up, before it could come down, in fact, it should be, oh God. And just like some few days ago, we heard that the price of petrol has also fallen. And to my amazement, I went to some NNPC station yesterday, and I discovered that they're still selling at 580, which I presume they said it has crashed down to, I think, 500 or thereabouts. So I think in this country, we got there for. Thank you very much.
Let's just be clear that NNPC has debunked the rumor that prices are coming down. So that hasn't happened yet. Right.
All right. Another comment, Okediran Babatunde says, the bankers are not helping the matter. It is unfortunate that ATM will not be funded by these banks, but directly opposite that same bank are POS operators with large volume of cash.
Good morning.
Hello, good morning.
This is John Olariwaju. Good morning. Calling from Magdo. First and foremost, on the issue of Olubadan, I think they need to just take it easy. So if they wanted to know whether Baba is still or not, I think they can go and visit him. Even the Olubadan, the Oba, the High Chief of Olubadan, they can go and visit the new Olubadan. So that's very simple. So you don't need to use that one to cause the air in Ibadan. On the issue of soldiers that were still buried yesterday, as government promised the families, I think they need to do it for them. They need to sponsor their children from where they stop till they will finish the school. So government needs to do this. If government fail to do it, it means that they did not give a good impression to others. So let the government be faithful to their promises to these soldiers. Good morning.
All right, thank you. 0705 5949 0809 7949.
Prof, there was a particular comment that talked about raising down the entire community and making
I was aghast. I was aghast when I read that. You cannot visit collective punishment on the people. They are people responsible. I think it's laziness, you understand? I think it's a mark of tyranny if the government does that. What they should do is forensic investigation, arrest the people, apprehend them, get the weapons back. That's the way that it should. We can't have another OD there, you understand? That's not the way to go. I certainly object to that in the sternest or the strongest of terms.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning. In support of that analysis, I wanted to comment on that. I will have also sympathized with the feeling of the soldiers is capable and sad. But the question to that person that was sending the message is that those several thousands of soldiers that are based in the north every day, how many of those villages have been left? That must be interesting to this house now. How many of them have been eliminated like that? They see them every day in the north. What have they done? Are we slavery in the south? To say the truth? What are the best of today?
All right, Rawaki Kumi says Ningi was suspended, but according to House rules, Senator can be suspended for 14 days maximum. It's like second week now. Ningi should have approached court about his illegal suspension, but it takes two to tango. All right, it's time for us to leave the studio, and let's just take this final comment from Raja Hafiz Abiola. Says about LP's National Convention and rejection of the outcome of conversation by NLC President. It is disgraceful to see NLC President fight dirty with the newly elected LP officers. What concerns NLC with the internal politics of LP? The NLC we knew yesteryear was a pressure group, not political party. Honestly, Ajaero has bastardized the NLC structure, and if the situation continues like this, the NLC will lose its respect and be reduced to ordinary.
All right, we'll take one final call. Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Hello, good morning.
Yeah, John calling from Ibadan. Doctor, good morning.
Oh, good morning, sir.
What is the cause of that fight between the two communities? What caused the fight? What caused the fight? Is it not oil bunkering? The army, didn't they know about it? Let them settle what caused the fight first. If not, it will still reoccur. Good morning.
Good morning.
All right, it's time for us to go. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Prof, for joining us this morning on the Papers Review.
Thank you.
And that's why we call it a wrap on the Papers Review this morning. You can join us tomorrow for another edition. That's at 6:30 a.m. My name is Kenny Dorotilu.
And I am DENIKE Coming up next is a Smart Kids Show.